Okay, so there's something absolutely enormous zipping through our cosmic backyard right now. And here's the thing, it's not from around here. Today, we're diving into 3I/Atlas, this incredible interstellar visitor that has everybody talking, from top scientists to spiritual thinkers.
And I want to be clear, this isn't some tiny blip on the edge of our solar system. Nope. It is cruising right through the heart of our planetary home, after a journey that started light years from here. This is real, it's not science fiction, and it's happening as we speak.
So the big question is, what is this thing? I mean, really, if you ask a scientist, they'll tell you it's a once-in-a-lifetime natural event, a massive comet from another star. But if you ask others, they'll say its arrival is anything but random. They see it as a catalyst, something here to trigger a big change for all of us. You've got two completely different narratives for the exact same silent visitor.
All right, before we get into all the different interpretations, let's just wrap our heads around the basic facts here, because honestly, they're pretty mind-blowing on their own.
Okay, first up, size. We're talking about a nucleus, that's the solid core, that's estimated to be around 50 kilometers or 30 miles wide. Now, to put that in perspective, that's like 5 times bigger than the rock that probably took out the dinosaurs. For something visiting from another star system, that is just colossal.
And then there's its speed. It's just as wild. We're talking 58 kilometers per second. That's over 130,000 miles per hour. I mean, think about that. There's no way something moving that fast could be from our solar system. It had to come from interstellar space.
So here's a look at its itinerary, its little grand tour of our solar system. It's going to swing around the sun in late 2025, do its closest, though still really far, flyby of Earth in December, and then it's on its way out. It'll pass Jupiter in the spring of 2026, and then, poof, back into the great unknown. It's a quick visit for sure, but definitely one we won't forget.
Okay, so what's the scientific take on this cosmic celebrity? Well, for astrophysicists, this is basically the Super Bowl. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. The general consensus is pretty clear. 3I Atlas is a comet, a really, really big one. Think of it as a piece left over from the creation of some other solar system billions of miles away. It got kicked out of its home and just wandered the galaxy for who knows how long, millions of years probably, until it just happened to stumble into our neighborhood. But here's where it gets a little interesting. Some of its features are, well, a little weird. They've definitely raised some eyebrows and led some people to wonder if it's more than just a giant space rock. But for every one of these so-called anomalies, the scientific community has a pretty solid natural explanation.
So, let's talk about anomaly number 1, the anti-tail. Now, you probably know that comet tails are supposed to point away from the sun, right? That's just Comet 101. Well, early on, observers saw 3I Atlas sporting a jet of stuff that was pointing towards the sun, a total head-scratcher.
But the scientific explanation is actually pretty straightforward. It all comes down to basic physics. Imagine the sun is baking the side of the comet that's facing it. All that heat makes more gas and dust boil off from that front side. And because the comet is still so far away from the sun, the solar wind, that stream of particles constantly flowing from the sun, just isn't strong enough yet to push all that gunk back into a traditional tail. So what you get is this weird, forward-facing plume. Okay, anomaly number 2, its trajectory. This is another big one. So it's traveling almost perfectly flat, right along the same plane that all of our planets orbit on. Now, for a totally random visitor from deep space, what are the odds of that? It seems astronomically low, right?
Well, science has an answer for that too, and it's called selection bias. It's actually pretty simple. The telescope survey that discovered it is called ATLAS. And where does ATLAS spend most of its time looking? You guessed it, right along that flat plane, because that's where we expect to find our own solar system's comets. So it's not that its path is some cosmic miracle, it's just that we found it because we were looking in the very spot it happened to be traveling through.
But look, even as a completely natural object, this thing is an absolute scientific goldmine. I love this quote from astrophysicist David Kipping. He calls it a cheat code. It's like the universe is giving us a way to see what other solar systems are made of without us having to travel light years to get there. It's a free sample delivered right to our front door.
So that's the scientific story. But you know, that's only one half of the picture. For a whole lot of people, this is not just some passive cosmic snowball. It's a catalyst. And it kind of makes sense, right? When things on Earth feel chaotic or uncertain, we have this tendency to look up at the sky for answers, for meaning. So let's dive into that perspective.
From an astrological point of view, 3i/Atlas isn't just a tourist passing through. It's seen as an active player in the game. Think of it like a cosmic amplifier. It's not creating new problems or events, but its energy is believed to turn up the volume on everything that's already simmering here on Earth. All the tensions, all the secrets, and forcing them out into the open.
And you can see here how those connections are being drawn. Astrologers are pointing out that its arrival lines up perfectly with some major eclipses and really tense planetary alignments. They're linking these celestial events directly to what's happening on the ground. Rising geopolitical pressures, huge calls for truth and accountability, and this general feeling that our old systems are just about to break.
Then there's an even more personal, spiritual take, and it's tied to this concept of starseeds. Now, this is the belief that certain people here on Earth actually have souls that came from other star systems. The idea is that they're here on a kind of mission to help raise human consciousness and help us evolve.
So if you're looking at it through that lens, 3i/Atlas isn't just a comet, it's a signal. It's like a cosmic alarm clock going off. Its arrival is seen as an activation for these starseeds, a wake-up call to remember and embrace their purpose. Some people who identify with this have even reported feeling a kind of healing energy coming from the object as it gets closer.
Okay, so let's take a step back. On one side, you have a giant ball of ice and rock, an incredible scientific marvel. And on the other, you have a spiritual catalyst, an activator of consciousness. So how do we square these two totally different viewpoints?
Well, maybe the answer is we don't have to choose. If you look at the big themes that pop up in both interpretations, a kind of personality for this object starts to take shape. Whether you're looking at it through a telescope or through a more spiritual lens, everyone seems to agree on a few things. It's a revealer of secrets, an activator, a catalyst for change, and an absolute treasure.
And I think this is the most important point of all. The object itself is silent. It's a 50-kilometer wide chunk of ice and rock, just doing its thing, moving through space. It's not telling us anything. All the stories, all the meaning, all the interpretations, they're all coming from us.
It's basically become a cosmic Rorschach test. Like those inkblot tests? It's just a giant, ambiguous shape in the sky. And onto that blank slate, we, as humanity, are projecting everything. Our biggest fears about where the world is headed, our deepest hopes for a better future, and all of our most profound questions about who we are and what our place is in this universe.
So in the end, maybe the real question isn't, what is 3i/Atlas? Maybe the better question is, as this interstellar visitor passes through our solar system, reflecting the light of our own sun, what truths is it reflecting back at us about ourselves?